So it's been like over a year since we last spoke.
Yeah, was it before? Is it around the time of the Wrath of Ragnarok
It
campaign?
was, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That
yeah.
feels like a distant memory. Yeah,
Yeah. A far distant memory.
yeah, I buried that one.
So we'll just kind of like dive into this because it's been a while and I've got some questions that I like to ask and just kind of stuff. So the main thing, so I don't know if you want to talk about this one, these questions I've got here, but the Kickstarter fiasco that happened.
Oh, you mean the
Well,
Tides of Terror?
yes.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it a fiasco, but I mean, I think really, for me, it was just a tricky one because I was kind of like I had high expectations
Yeah.
basically. So it's kind of I'm the one to blame, I suppose. But I mean, I was basically launching what I thought, as a completely brand new kind of product. I know
Yeah.
it's kind of a spin-off from Destiny Quest, but I mean, in essence, you didn't have to have played any of my other books
Yeah.
to appreciate it. I had a completely new combat system that I thought would kind of have a much more of a casual appeal because there's no dice involved. It's not heavy on bookkeeping. So I just kind of was expecting it to kind of explode a bit more than it did, and I
Yeah.
think it was just a little bit. And also, I had a marketing agency that I hadn't used before. That it's quite costly, but they were very good at doing a lot of advertising. And I'm kind of glad that they did because kind of 60% of the backers were completely brand new people
Yeah.
that never backed any of my other stuff before.
Wow.
So that's quite amazing. And so I'm appreciative of that. But I was just a little bit sad that I was expecting all of my Destiny Quest crew to come on and back me.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, and it's just the nature of Kickstarter and crowdfunding at the moment in terms of, shipping costs, the hideous EU
Yeah.
customs, which is basically like the Wild West. And you've got, and then also people do get stung occasionally for customs, and I can understand why people are becoming more reticent now to, back these projects because they know they can just grab it in Amazon, at some point later.
Yeah.
But obviously without all the nice goodies that, you know. But I mean, the unfortunate thing with people waiting for Amazon is that's kind of great, but then it doesn't sort of help me as a
No.
creator. I don't get that much from a sale on Amazon, and so it doesn't really help me to keep the kind of wheels of creation going.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was a bit afterwards, having, I was feeling a bit disappointed, but then, water under the bridge now,
Yeah.
and I'm all good and it's all fine. So
Yeah, no, you did really well considering everything. You did really really well, and to be honest, I'm so happy that I backed it because all the things that you get, the quality of it is worth it and
there is
absolutely
yeah, I've
amazing.
still got loads actually over.
Oh, do
Of
you?
this, yeah, yeah.
Oh
It's
no!
actually still taking over my office, but yeah.
Oh no, that's awful. Oh, dude, I'd be absolutely devastated.
Well, it's fine. I mean, the thing is when you're printing certain quantities, is you kind of go over certain thresholds,
Yeah.
so you do end up having sort of surplus of things.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay.
so it's just part and parcel of, I've got cards everywhere really.
Bless you. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always something that you could always sign them and then
Well, I was thinking maybe eventually I'll just build some kind of house out of them,
glue them
and
together
then
and have
that's
that.
it. Because I might need to eventually. And
No.
when I'm living in a park, I'll just create a house out of Kickstarter cards.
So we're downgrading from an actual cardboard box house to a house of cards.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
No.
Maybe I can afford some sellotape to kind of give it a little bit
I'll
of a.
send you the sellotape.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, bless you. So what made you decide to change the angle from like the open world Destiny Quest with Destiny Raiders?
Um, Basically, the reason was I'd obviously just done Wrath of Ragnarok,
Yes.
and that's part of my main series, and those books are absolutely massive
Huge.
and there's such a time investment to write, and also a time investment for people to read. And in a lot of ways I get the sense that my readership is still kind of like battling their way through Raiders of Dune Sea, and they haven't even really kind of broken into Wrath of Ragnarok yet anyway. And so I kind of thought, well, it would be kind of stupid to just jump into the next Destiny Quest book, because I just don't think people are ready,
Yeah.
for the next one straight away. And I mean, it had been about 3 or 4 years since Raiders of Dune Sea anyway, for Wrath. And I felt like that was about the right kind of time frame in some ways. So I just thought, I was wondering what else I could do. And then I remembered that I'd already come up with this kind of game system quite a few years ago,
Yeah.
which was completely diceless and based around kind of team combat. And at the time when I'd come up with that, it wasn't anything to do with Destiny Quest. I was actually thinking of it. I actually pitched it to a publisher basically, as a kind of completely different series that could go into like sci-fi, fantasy, and all kinds of different genres. Anyway, I didn't get anywhere with it. But I think you have those kind of mad ideas at like 3 o'clock in the morning,
all the time,
kind of thing, when you're lying awake. And I just thought, hang on a minute, why don't I take that game system and maybe make a kind of spin-off series out of it? Because did you do the World Companion Kickstarter?
I wasn't there for that, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, I did a book called The World Companion. Actually, you can probably...
I can just see it.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's basically... it's like my source book. It's like my campaign book.
Yeah.
And it has like an atlas section at the back, which goes into all the different regions of the world. And when I was writing that, I was having loads of ideas for like campaigns and scenarios.
Yeah.
And all those kind of things. And that's kind of what made me think about DestinyQuest Raiders as a spin-off, is that I could actually like explore all these different areas of the world, and regions, and kind of be a bit more crazy with some of the characters and settings, but still keeping it within that Destiny Quest world. So that's really where the idea came from. And I also wanted to see how, if I could actually make this diceless combat system work.
It's definitely an interesting idea, and I am having fun with it being diceless, to be honest, because normally I'm there with all my trays and my plethora of dice, and I'm just like using them all. So it's definitely interesting. I do like the way that the combat actually works. Obviously, I failed the first time I did it in the video, but now that I figured out and actually read the actual guide that it has in it.
Read the rules.
Yes, I've read the rules. I have learnt.
Yeah. Although frustratingly, there is actually a typo in the rules, which gives me sleepless nights. But it is getting changed. But
oh, really?
Yeah, I know. And it's like, how many times did I read that? And how many other people read that? And nobody picked up on
Nobody clocked it.
Yeah.
That's okay if no one else clocked it. It's not just you.
Crazy.
So obviously, like, with the characters, they've all got their own like personality and their way of speech, and you put all this breath of air and life into, especially with this, because this is the first time we've got in your books like all these characters that have their own like backstories. So how do you do it? How do you make them like feel like living things on these pages? Because they're so interesting, these characters that you've brought to us.
I suppose it's like, obviously when you've got a team, you want to have every character be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also in some ways kind of play off each other and complement each other in a way. So I think really for me, I suppose I was thinking of like the appearance and, the aesthetics first.
Yeah.
So I had this idea of the kind of sort of dashing swordsman, the kind of arcane archer. I kind of had that sort of visuals in my head, but then when you can't start to kind of break down into, okay, who are these people, what's their background, so I always plan that, and I think that's obviously massively important, is to really plan the kind of backstories of these people, even if you don't really get to learn much of it in the book. At least you as the writer understand. And I just think I had a lot of fun with just their different personalities and because I wanted it to feel like a kind of bickering.
Oh yeah, there's banter.
Dysfunctional.
Oh
family,
yeah, absolutely get that from them.
And I think they all sort of bring their own sort of humor I think I tried to make this a lot more. I wouldn't say like a full blown comedy, but it's a
That's
lot
still...
more humor in it,
Oh yeah,
and I think particularly with Jinka Gale, who appears later, who's this massive hulking giantess,
yeah.
but she's completely deadpan, and I don't know. It's just the way she plays off the other characters. She makes made me. She is now one of my sort of favorite
I was gonna.
characters.
That
As
was my next question. Was, do you have a favorite? Now we know.
yeah, I just think and the best entrance of any character
Oh God,
I've
yeah.
ever written. So
One of the other things is obviously we all call him Johan, but how do you pronounce
yes, I
his
know.
name?
It's officially Johan now. I think I'm just like an idiot, and I actually invented a character who I was calling him Johan, and nobody else calls him that. So
I was gonna call him that, but then I actually googled like, how are people pronouncing his name? Because I always get
is it
names
actually
wrong.
an official thing?
Johan is an actual name, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know
But it's
that.
spelled like that as well. There's like different spellings of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, well, can I not get away with him being Johan? But no,
I can
apparently
call him.
everyone calls him Johan.
I
So
can
have
call
no
him
choice.
Johan.
So yeah, doesn't matter.
Oh, it does. It does. These are your characters.
Oh no, I don't mind. It's fine.
Will Destiny Raiders evolve into like kind of like its own little series?
I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Whether it will or not, I don't know. Like I said to you, the Kickstarter didn't quite explode the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still really waiting to see what people think of it. I mean, so far the feedback that I've had has been really positive,
Yeah.
and people are really liking it. But I'm just sort of waiting on that. But as I'll maybe be talking about later, I've got other big
Yes.
projects, and so it's definitely on the back burner. But I do obviously have ideas for other DestinyQuest Raiders books, and as I said, I can go a lot crazier with those books.
Yeah.
And I mean, my next one, I was actually thinking of doing like a kind of Japanese theme, because there's a land called Avida, which is I allude to in the World Companion, but I don't discuss or explore in any detail. But I thought of it maybe sort of combining. This is going to sound a bit of a weird mix, but kind of sort of Indian subcontinent mythology with Japanese mythology and molding that together into giant fighting pandas and all kinds of craziness.
Okay.
And that's what I want to do for my next one. If it'll happen or not, who knows? I don't know.
No, it has to happen because you've been putting all these little clues and hints into Facebook and Twitter and X, whatever it's called these days. All these pictures that you've been putting in, all these ideas and hints, especially with what you put in recently with Sunfall.
Oh yeah, this is different. Yeah, this is official. This is happening.
Is it?
Well, it is happening. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is going to be an open world.
I'm doing I'd call it pseudo open world.
Yeah.
As in, I don't think it's going to be fully open world because I don't really like the way fully open world game books play. I find, I don't know. I can go into that in more detail, but I don't want to kind of go for that. I like to have more of a narrative experience.
Yes, absolutely.
And I like to immerse the reader, and you can't. People might argue against this, but
no, go on.
People love their open world, but you can't quite get that full immersion when you're sort of jumping around different places.
Yes.
And you're getting situations where you're reading and it's like, okay, so have you ticked this box? And if you haven't ticked this box, have you got this code word? If you haven't got that code word, have you got this code word? And if you haven't got that code word, then tick this box and then record this code word. And then now you can read on. And it's like, it's just immersion breaking for me.
Yeah,
too.
no.
And it's clunky. And it exposes the mechanics of everything. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, no. I had the same issue with Fabled Lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Like going backwards and forwards, make sure I had tick boxes and all the other things that you've just mentioned. It was kind of like a moment where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, where I am. And what's going on.
And also, it's very overwhelming as well.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And some people like that, and I can understand why it's done, because that's the way really you have to do it to do a fully open world game book. But I just kind of, I want to try and do something different whereby it's probably not too dissimilar to Destiny Quest, but it's I don't know how to explain it really, but you're picking your paths and you're exploring, but then you'll find kind of places of interest and locations, and you're recording those that you can revisit and jump to whenever you want.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of like backtracking and going back to places when you kind of are able to, or and I'm just exploring ways of doing that that feels natural and easy for the player.
Yeah.
So it's kind of open world to an extent.
Yeah, no, I think that that's a really good idea, to be honest, because obviously with us enjoying how Destiny Quest already kind of like sort of flows and how it works, I'm excited about this. What can you actually tell us about this? Obviously, we've got like the themes that you've said, and obviously we're being like pseudo open. What else can you kind of like lure us in with this? Because it definitely has that sort of Dark Souls kind of feeling to it from the little bits that you've given us.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been quite open about the fact that if you imagine that my Destiny Quest series was very much influenced by World of Warcraft and Diablo, which obviously were massive games back in the day, 2012 when I wrote Destiny Quest. Well, I suppose Sunfall is me now looking at the market and looking at what I enjoy playing now, which is games like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring. And so I've come up with a completely new combat system, game system that I think personally completely encapsulates that game experience in a book.
Okay.
And I don't think it's been done before, because that's what I like to do. Is just I have to innovate. I have to, um, you know, otherwise there's no point doing these things. And so that's my starting point. Was like I want to do Dark Souls in a book. How do I do it? And I'd already been researching Aztecs because I was actually going to be writing a book, a fantasy book, with an Aztec theme,
Yeah.
but I just feel like I'm sort of cursed to constantly write game books because I started kind of planning this book and I was ready to go, right, I'm not doing any more game books. I'm going to just write fiction now.
I remember the
I'm going to write a
post.
proper book. I'm going to write a proper book. But then my problem is that I just can't stop thinking about game ideas. And it's like when the game part isn't there, it just feels hollow to me. It's really weird to explain, you know.
Really? It feels hollow to you?
Yeah, yeah, because like I was like, okay, I've got this story and I'm pulling on it, but then I keep thinking about I get the thing that excites me more is the game bits,
Yeah.
and I was like, and then I kept thinking about, oh, this would be so cool if I take some of these ideas, but I make it into a game book, and then I'll start, and then you just kind of like tumbleweed,
Yeah.
and so
Everything
it
just
just
gets bigger and
expanded,
bigger.
and then I came up with the game system, and I really liked it. Was quite shocked that it actually worked and was and was like, this is really good. I really like it. This is so like on point with where games are at the minute.
Yeah.
So there it is. The rest is history.
Is there any type of like character creation sort of in this that is able to be done? I know it can't be like how we play like Elden Ring and things like World of Warcraft because it's a game book. But what can you do?
Well, it's not a million miles away from that. I mean, it's not on the scale of. I don't know really how you'd compare it with Destiny Quest because Destiny Quest doesn't have a lot of character. I mean, the character creation comes into
The looting
the
and
looting.
yeah,
Whereas I'd say this is stat based,
yeah,
like it would be, say, in like Elden Ring. So you've got different important stats that you decide to invest in.
yeah.
Yeah. And then that affects lots of different things, mainly sort of like weapons you can equip and other abilities and stuff. But the key focus of this book is your weapons.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually the what would I say, like the bread and butter, the actual complete focus of your hero is their weapon or weapons that they're fighting with.
That makes
Uh,
sense if it's like Elden Ring.
Yeah, I mean, because the combat is completely uh, tactical, strategic. you reacting. I can't say too much more, but
Oh, I'm
it's
so
very it's
excited.
literally like a get. It's like you may as well just have your control pad, and it's gonna hopefully feel like that. And yeah, that's my ambition with this.
I'm actually really excited about this. You probably built it up, so I'm
Yeah,
excited
sorry.
about this. Sorry, don't apologize for that.
We're
It
not gonna,
sounds amazing.
reach your expectations, but yeah. So, but at the minute, I'm still researching.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because there's a lot of research that needs to go into um the setting. But yeah, so there'll be a lot more exciting announcements about this.
Oh, I can't even wait.
Because yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, I can't say much more. I know I'm so excited, but yeah, yeah.
I can't believe you can't tell us anymore. Gutted. Uh, would it be going through Kickstarter again when you get to that point?
More than likely.
Or is there like a time, like ETA, or is it like obviously it's still in the works? But
well, I think that it would take me like the rest of the year to write.
yeah.
Um, so it may be that the Kickstarter's not up to me.
Oh, okay.
And but it would be more than likely might actually even be like towards the end of next year, middle of
That's
next
fine.
year.
I can be patient. I can be patient. I can be patient. Obviously, you're doing a lot of things on YouTube at the moment where you're actually doing a lot of few videos of your playthroughs.
Yeah, I've got at least 6 viewers. It's amazing.
I'm one of them. I'm learning things. So, are you going to be doing it through like different sort of like? Obviously, you're doing the warrior one at the moment. Are you going to then progress it to like a different one, or
Not for the big walkthroughs because they take ages. They take absolutely ages, and that's not to say I actually loved writing it
yeah,
and doing it, and I think as I said, it brought me back to Legion of Shadow.
yeah,
A book that I did want to just fire off into the sun. Now I've learned to kind of
love it.
love it
Yeah.
a little bit more. Actually, I've got some exciting news on that, but I'll tell you that in a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Well, sort of, but what was that? What was the question? Oh yeah, walkthroughs. So yeah, no, the reason I did that walkthrough was because I know like a lot of people struggle with Legion of Shadow. It's probably the hardest one of all the books, just because the itemization is just crazy.
Oh, I
It's all
love
like
it.
it's all like yeah. Well, exactly. That's why I actually think it's such a stupidly mad game book because it just throws all this mad stuff at you,
It does, yeah.
and you can just create stupid builds. But the problem is that a lot of people who are perhaps not into their gaming so much probably just find it overwhelming. They pick maybe items, put them together where they just don't work,
Yeah.
and then they get to a point where it's like, okay, this game's rubbish. I'm dying all the time, and then they chuck it away. So what I wanted to do was do a walkthrough where at least I'm showing or letting people see how you can break the game. But you can basically, you can, if you just intelligently think about your speed, and then it's just a matter of just slotting in your other abilities and trying to make something that works. You kind of can sail through the book pretty
Yeah.
easily, so I just wanted to do that, and I'm very conscious as well that despite my protests and telling people please don't start with Legion of Shadow, they always do start with Legion of Shadow, and so I just wanted to at least have something up that exists so that when people come with pitchforks saying your book's broken, it doesn't work, blah blah blah, I can just go, well, actually, we'll just follow my walkthrough.
I mean, yes, absolutely, but I don't think the book's broken at all.
Well, it could be a lot better. It's very rough around the edges, but as I sort of said in my love it hate it video, if you think of my later books as like the kind of sort of polite adults, their Legion of Shadow is just the sort of stupid mad cousin in the background, sort of waving around, doesn't care about anything and cheats, and I think that's the way you have to look at Legion of Shadow, is that it's just kind of should just exist in its own genre. And then I think it should be kept in some kind of like protective box, and then just take it out on special occasions, but then put it back in again, and then close it up and just put a padlock on it or something. And that's the way it should be treated. And just don't feed it.
Don't feed it.
Just don't
Always
feed it.
a crumb at
Yeah,
least.
so that's my opinion of Legion of Shadow. So, yeah.
What is this exciting news about Legion of Shadow?
Oh, just be well. Okay, take everything with a pinch of salt.
Okay, I'm ready.
But I have finally heard from my publisher after about 6 months, um, and they are. I'm kind of like I think it's going to be happening, but they are going to be updating the ebook version of it to the Italian edition,
Oh,
which has all my
nice.
patch notes in.
Yeah,
So the ebook, fingers crossed. I don't have any time frame, but I've been told that the intention is they're going to update that.
that's fantastic.
So that's good news part one.
Oh,
Good news part two is they do want to update the paperback, but I don't have a time frame for that, and that might not be anytime soon because they need to wait for the next print run. So that might be a while. But I mean, just getting the ebook updated from its prehistoric version
yeah.
is an absolute win.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's
I
actually
must
that is
admit, I don't
exciting.
actually know though if you've already bought the ebook. I don't know. Can you update? I don't know whether it would update it.
Sometimes they mostly do update it from the
Yeah,
ebook.
so I'm not sure whether it'll be like you'll be able to just update it if you already own it, or whether you'd have to buy it again. I don't know. I just thought it would just update.
It would update, yeah.
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 So
No, that's absolutely fantastic and amazing. That's definitely good news. That's
yeah.
fantastic. That is fantastic. So obviously you've said before that you're a fan of the Dark Souls and Elden Ring. Just to sidestep just a little bit. What kind of character do you play on Elden Ring? Because now I'm just
Oh God.
curious.
Well, I'm following a walkthrough guide,
Yeah.
so I just do what I'm told. Because I tried Elden Ring myself
Yeah.
when it first came out, and I hated it
Really?
because as a Dark Souls player
Oh yeah.
and Bloodborne, I kind of like to just like kind of follow a linear, like a progression, and therefore I know, okay, if this guy is killing me, I know it's my fault and I'm rubbish and I need to get good.
Yeah.
With Elden Ring, it's kind of like, okay, here's the world, and I don't know where I'm going, and then and I think it's just my OCD nature. I was just constantly like, I don't know if I should be here. Should I be doing this? Should I be fighting this boss? And it just drove me mad, and I hated it. So I never touched it after a certain amount of time. And then I started. I think basically because there's not a bit of a drought of games at the minute, isn't there? Really.
There is, yeah.
And so I just thought, what can I go back to that I probably should do? And I know the DLC was out now, isn't
Yeah.
it? The DLC, but I knew the DLC was coming out, and I thought, oh, do you know what? I might just start watching a guide. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
get some help on what the hell I'm supposed to be doing in this game. And so I think I'm on episode 44 of 82 or something, because I didn't realize how big this blooming game is, and I feel like I've been playing it for like the last 15 years of my life, but I am loving it, and I suppose the character, well, they call it a quality build,
Right.
so it's kind of like a mix of strength and dex, and I've got the Blood Fang sword.
Oh.
It's kind of a bit of a bleed.
Yeah, you hurt yourself, and then you get the damage
Yeah, it's
onto
kind
the
of a
characters.
bleed build, and I've got some good summons and that. But in general, when I'm playing the other Dark Souls games, I tend to play the kind of sort of like sword and board.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, I'd love to be like someone cool that can play with the daggers and does all the rolling
Oh, me
and the cool
too.
moves, but I just get killed repeatedly,
Same.
and I can't play a mage to save my life. I tried it actually. That the first time I played Elden Ring, I tried, and maybe this is why I didn't get on with it. I tried a sorcerer
Oh yeah.
build, and I just didn't get on with it. And maybe I should have just.
They're so
from the start.
squishy.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it was a really bad decision on my part. I think I may have just seen a YouTube guide where they go something like, "Oh my God, the sorcerer is totally broken," blah blah blah, and I was like, "Okay, I'll try that," and then I just got killed. So, but I am loving the game, and it made me even more think I really want to do this, capture this experience. Not dying so much constantly.
No.
but then again, I do also want to kind of think about how I make with this new book. I kind of want it to have that feel of the oppression, that kind of like wandering into areas that you kind of gonna know. Actually, I really shouldn't be here yet.
Yeah.
I need to go away and get a lot better before I come back here, and I want to kind of do that a little bit.
No, I absolutely love that because obviously we're both like tabletop nerds. We enjoy
Mm.
obviously our role playing games, stuff like that. Like I've got the Dark Souls like core rule book behind me, like over. I know it's over
Oh,
there.
the board game.
I've got the board game, but I also have like the tabletop RPG role playing game core
Oh,
rule
right. Okay,
book.
yeah, no, no. Yeah, I had the board game. So,
I've
yeah.
not played the board game yet, but with obviously with you writing all these amazing game books, and you've got the World Companion that you said is like its own sort of like campaign and sessions kind of like in the book. Would you ever actually make some sort of like tabletop RPG game, including in the world that you've got? Would you ever go to that point?
Well, I was approached. I don't know whether you know this actually, but I was approached to do an RPG about, I don't know, would it be 3 years ago now? And I was working with some guys in the States on them. They were big fans and they wanted to create an RPG. But it just kind of like, it sort of fell apart really, for no other reason than I think budget and maybe the sort of realization of just how, I mean, because it's such a competitive marketplace,
Oh yeah,
as you know, and you've got to have like massive budgets to propel these things into,
yeah,
so it kind of it so sadly it was a sort of mutual decision to not kind of pursue it, but that I had written all that material already,
yeah.
which became the World Companion. So that was all that. So the World Companion came out of that sort of disaster, so to speak. But I mean, if somebody approached me and wanted an RPG, I mean, obviously, I would probably say yes. But I mean, it's such a tough,
Yeah.
massive market that it would have to be someone that just knew. Like, you couldn't rely on like just a small little bunch of Destiny Quest fans. It'd have to be something so massive
Yeah.
that it was, would appeal to that broader board game market. So but oh god, a Destiny Quest board game.
That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be nice.
I wouldn't mind having that on my shelf and bringing that out every now and then to play with my friends, though, to be honest.
Yeah,
That
I
would
think
be
it'd be
pretty
so cool.
golden.
Something like Oath. Have you played Oathsworn or any of those
I
games?
have, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that where it's like a boss battler, but with a bit of choose your own adventure in it.
Yeah. No, that,
Yeah.
that,
Oh,
that would be pretty amazing, though, to be honest.
I
I wouldn't
know.
mind that at all. Is there anything else you would like to like let people know about at all?
I'm still alive. I haven't had a nervous breakdown. Um, um, no, not. I mean, just basically, I think for the rest of this year, I'm going to be focused on Sunfall. So maybe if I'm a bit quiet on things, then that's the but I haven't forgotten Destiny Quest, and I am committed to finishing the Sands of Time trilogy. Yeah. So that would probably be my next book to just finish off those three books, and then people can't chase after me with pitchforks screaming for it. And I feel like I have to complete that story arc.
Yeah. Bless you.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell people where they can find you? I'll put links down below, but where people will be able to find you.
Well, if you can leave a link to my Facebook,
Yeah.
which I don't know offhand what that link is, but because that's kind of where I tend to update the most.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have the official Destiny Quest website, which is destiny-quest.com, which has all sort of buy links to my books. Has a bit of a forum on there, and if you're completely new, it's got like a how to play section, and all my downloads are on there because there's a ton of like supplementary stuff on there, player guides, hero sheets to print off, and all kinds of stuff, which I'm trying to highlight in my YouTube videos as well,
Yeah, one of
to
them
just
was
let people know they exist.
Yeah, one of them was the soundtrack as well to one of your books.
Yeah, so there's soundtracks to Raiders of Dune Sea and Wrath of Ragnarok,
Yeah.
by two fantastically talented guys, and yeah, so they've done like a selection actually of different soundtracks for different parts of the book. So if you're so inclined to want to have a bit of ambience as you're getting pulverized by legendary monsters, then you've got it.
Yeah.
So
No, that's absolutely brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this. I
that's right.
appreciate it so much. And you're amazing. You are.
If
You are.
say so, yeah.
Yeah, no, you are. We appreciate all the hard work in what you do.
Thank you.
And everything else that's been going on. And as long as you look after yourself as well.
Yeah, well, I'll get entertainment out of watching you play through DestinyQuest Raiders for sure.
Oh God, yeah, you've done this wrong. Okay. Right.
No, you'll get it. You'll get through it.
I will. I'll get there. But no, thank you so much. And I do
right.
appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this.
That's all right. My pleasure.
And I will catch you very, very soon. I'll
Yeah,
probably
who
drag
knows?
you
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. The next time, hopefully, I'll be able to reveal more
I hope
about
so.
what's going on behind the scenes. So it's very, very ridiculously exciting.
I'm so excited. You've already sold it on me. So.
So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I will leave you to go relax and enjoy the rest of your day, my friend.
Okay, I'm the same to you. Thank you.
Right. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.